Morning children, Class 7 Science, chapter number 12, that is Reproduction in Plants. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to define reproduction, recall the parts of a flower, explain asexual and sexual reproduction in plants, describe asexual modes of reproduction in plants such as vegetative propagation, budding, fragmentation and spore formation, define unisexual and bisexual flowers, understand pollination and its type, explain formation of a zygote. Students, what is reproduction? It is a process in which living organisms give birth to an offspring which is same or similar. Reproduction of plant can occur in two major ways: asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction involves gametes. Asexual reproduction does not involve gametes. Asexual reproduction, some part of the parent body will be capable of growing into a new organism. Asexual reproduction is further categorized into subtypes: vegetative propagation, fragmentation, budding, spore formation. Students, रूट, स्टेम, लीफ, फ्लावर ये सभी कैसे पार्ट्स हैं? वेजिटेटिव पार्ट्स हैं. फ्लावर आर द रिप्रोडक्टिव पार्ट ऑफ अ प्लांट. What is vegetative propagation? When new plants are produced from the vegetative parts of a plant, the process is called vegetative propagation. It does not involve formation of seeds. Stem as a vegetative part of a plant. Nodes are the points of attachment of leaves to the stem. And buds are axillary buds. ये birds flower को produce नहीं करती हैं, while give rise to new branches. Natural method of vegetative propagation include by leaves, by stems and by roots. Propagation by leaves, for example, in Rhiophyllum and Begonia. Propagation by stem, for example, in grass, strawberry and potato. Propagated by roots, for example, in sweet potato and dahlia. Artificial method of vegetative propagation include stem cutting, for example, in strawberry, grafting, for example, in rose, and layering, for example, in grapes. Cutting. In this method, a new plant is produced from the branch of rose containing the node called cutting. Cutting of a plant is buried under soil and is watered regularly. After 1 week, roots come out. After 2 weeks, stem with new leaflets arises, and after the 3rd week, the flower bud develops into a complete flower. Vegetative propagation of potato. Potato with scars on its surface called as eyes. Cut a small piece of potato, bury it in soil. After regular watering, a new plant of potato emerges. Vegetative propagation by leaves. In plants like Rhiophyllum and Begonia, new plants are produced from leaves which have buds on the notches in their margins. These buds, after falling on the ground or coming in contact with the soil, grow into new plants. Vegetative propagation by root. Dahlia and sweet potato have roots that help in vegetative propagation. If root tuber of sweet potato is cut into pieces and sown in a well-prepared soil, a new plant can be produced. Vegetative propagation by stem. In some plants, a side branch grows out of the main plant and a root grows down into the soil and forming a new plant. Some plants reproduce vegetatively beneath the soil and are called modified underground stems. For example, onion, potato, ginger, colocas, etc. and are called modified underground stems. Budding. In yeast, a unicellular organism, a little cytoplasm accumulates at one end of the cell. The nucleus of the parent cell divides into two and one is sent into the bud. Bud formation occurs very rapidly in yeast cells to form a chain of yeast cells under favorable conditions. Fragmentation. There are several filamentous organisms like Spirogyra or flatworm which increases their population by fragmenting their filaments. The organism breaks up into two or more fragments after maturation and each fragment starts growing into a new individual. Spore formation. During unfavorable conditions, many fungi, mushrooms, ferns, mosses and bacteria such as yeast, rhizopus and mucor reproduce through spore formation. A spore is a tiny spherical unicellular body protected by a hard and thick wall. Spores are microscopic structure. The spores help in overcoming conditions unfavorable for reproduction. Thanks children.